Have you heard the expression, the Dark Ages? It means the Middle Ages, but they weren't that dark. The Middle Ages were the period that came between antiquity and the Renaissance. It's also called the Age of Chivalry. During the Middle Ages, two major religions spread throughout Europe: Christianity and Islam. Most of what was written in the Christian world had religious content. Everyone thought about how to behave in life to be able to get to heaven. One of the writers was Bridget of Sweden, Saint Birgitta. She had visions of God, Jesus, and the Virgin Mary, heavenly revelations. The Italian Dante Alighieri told in The Divine Comedy a story about what would happen after death if you didn't live righteously. Dante himself is the main character of the book. He is lost but meets the ancient writer Virgil. Virgil shows him the way to heaven, but first they must pass through hell. In hell, Dante meets people who have committed crimes against God, sinned. Hell, according to Dante, consists of 9 circles. The worse the sin committed in life, the further into hell the sinner would end up, and the torment of the sinner was worse the further in they ended up. After hell, Dante passed through the Inferno, which held more punishments for the sinners. And then, finally, Dante arrived in paradise, where he met with his beloved, Beatrice. And Beatrice led Dante on to heaven, where he got to meet God. Whoa, can I have your autograph? Islam reached Europe in the 8th century. North African Muslims, Moors, invaded most of what we call Spain and Portugal today. Several islands in the Mediterranean Sea also became Muslim lands. During the Middle Ages, much of what was discovered or invented in antiquity was forgotten. Development halted in the Christian world. But some Muslim cities, like Cordoba, became centers of science and culture. Amazing architecture was created, and libraries were established. Texts from ancient writers were preserved and translated. How lucky, otherwise we wouldn't know of them today. Muslim writers also wrote religious texts, like the poet Hafiz. He is still as loved and praised in his home country, Iran, as Shakespeare is in England. Hafiz's real name was Shams al-Din Muhammad. Hafiz is a title, meaning someone who knows the Quran by heart. And he did. But he didn't only write about God. In his collection of poems, Divan, there are love poems suitable both for those who wish to read about romantic love and those who want to contemplate God. But not everything that was written held religious content. You are probably familiar with Aladdin or Sinbad the Sailor. These stories, among others, are told in the collection 1001 Nights. Once upon a time, there was a Persian king who had the habit of killing his wife the day after the wedding. But when he married Scheherazade, everything changed. On their wedding night, Scheherazade began telling a very exciting story. When the night ended, the story wasn't finished, so the king, who wanted to hear the ending, let Scheherazade live on to the next night. In the Muslim world, Scheherazade remains a symbol of a smart and strong woman. But why are the Middle Ages also called the Age of Chivalry? Well, because chivalry means the way a knight should act. The knights became a new social class. They were mounted soldiers, came from noble families, and had been appointed, dubbed, by the king. A lot of stories were written about brave knights who fought fairy tale beasts like dragons. Love stories involving knights also became popular. A not-so-pleasant side of the knights was that they also went to war against those the Catholic Church considered to be the enemies of Christianity, the Muslims. So yes, the Middle Ages were dark in some ways.